Hello. Yeah, back for another video. I'm not sure what title's going to be of this yet. I'm just sort of it's just going to be a discussion really, I guess, about a lot of things that have happened during the past week or so in professional wrestling, which I think deserve a comment on. So I'm going to touch on a few different companies and a few different events over the past week. So yeah, get involved if you're listening to this video and you've got any thoughts on what I discuss. Just stick them below. Comments are always welcome. As I say, it's a great way to get a discussion going. But I'm not sure what order it's going to be in. It's just going to be off the top of my head, just off the cuff, really. So, yeah, first thing I'll talk about is the CM Punk DVD, Best in the World. I got this exactly a week ago, actually, last Saturday, and watched it pretty much straight away. The documentary, anyway. I've not watched all the matches yet. I've pretty much seen all of them before, anyway. So, but the documentary, absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic job. The best wrestling documentary I've ever seen, without a doubt. If you've got any hesitation whether to check it out or not, or whether you thought it might be sort of overhyped or whatever, it's not. All the hype is justified, and then some. In my opinion, it's like I say, it's the best documentary piece that the WWE have ever put out. And even if I would even go as far as say that even if you're not a big wrestling fan, that it almost plays out like a film in itself. It certainly can be enjoyed by it could be enjoyed by non-wrestling fans. In my opinion, it's actually that good. The story of Punk's sort of life and rise to the top is that interesting. It draws you in that much that I don't think you necessarily have to be a fan of Punk or a fan of even wrestling in general to be able to watch it. It just plays out almost like an underdog, like drama type movie, in my opinion. So yeah, two thumbs up and more from me to WWE for that. Brilliantly presented. Love that the fact that they included ROH quite extensively. They interviewed Chris Hero and put his name up as Chris Hero. They interviewed Ace Steel, Lars Fredriksson. Yeah, just amazing DVD, and it didn't blow smoke up Punk's arse. It told both sides of the coin. It sort of put across the bad points and the good points. So yeah, just amazing stuff. Just check it out. The documentary. I think it's about 2 hours long. The documentary. It's quite an epic, but it just flies by really. So I can't recommend that highly enough. So if you've got any reservations whatsoever about checking it out, just go ahead and buy it. It's worth every penny. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of say thumbs up to WWE for that, because they're not doing a lot right at the minute, but that is a fantastic piece that they've put out there. So yeah, moving on to talk about TNA. Impact this past week, if you've not seen it, was fucking amazing. The best Impact I've seen for a while, and as a go-home show to Bound for Glory, couldn't have asked for much more really. The setup, everything has been set up. All the ducks are in a row. It's been, the pay-per-view has been set up perfectly in my view. I wasn't actually that high on the Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy sort of feud, if you like. They were going down the sort of jealousy route, but this past week it took a absolute swinging momentum for the better. For Austin Aries' promo at the end of Impact was was brilliant stuff. So it's got me pumped, man. I'm pumped for Bound for Glory. I can't wait for it. It's probably the pay-per-view that I'm most looking forward to this year. I have to say, I'm looking forward to this at least as much as I was WrestleMania, and anything that's happened since from WWE. So yeah, hopefully this is the big payoff for all the hard work that TNA have done over the past maybe 6 months. All the good work they've done. If they can pull this off and put it all together at Bound for Glory, then they deserve a big pat on the back, because they've turned around their show, absolutely done a total 360 in my opinion. Yeah, it was a fucking embarrassment about a year ago, and But for most of this year, for the last 6 to 8 months, it's been the best wrestling product out there. Better than Raw, better than ROH, better than SmackDown. So yeah, and they deserve a big pat on the back. And as I understand it, a lot of their just looking on the internet, a lot of their old audience is starting to come back. But as of yet, the improvement in the product is not reflected in an upturn in ratings, which I just hope that it doesn't put them off doing what they've been doing and carrying on the same path. Because if they go back to how they were, say, a year ago or 18 months ago, that'd be a massive, massive error. If they bring Bischoff back, if they put Hogan on TV more, they need to stick with what they're doing, carry on down the same path, and it will turn and it will show in the ratings eventually. I'm positive about that. So, yeah, fingers crossed for them. I really hope they pull it off this Sunday in Bound for Glory. The lineup looks fantastic. The lineup of matches, Hardy and Aries for the world title, if given a decent amount of time, I can't see it being anything less than a great match. I mean, both those guys can go. Hardy, obviously, a lot of it depends on his mental state. Is he going to be? I know his contract's coming up. Is he going to want to put out 100%? I think he will do. I think he'll want to put himself over on the biggest show of the year. So, and Aries is Mr. Consistent. Nothing less than a good match. I've never seen him have anything less than a good match. So that should be great. A couple of matches that have been added from Impact are Samoa Joe versus Magnus for the TV title. I like Magnus. I'm not just saying it because he's an English guy. I think he's a good talker. I think he can bounce well off Joe if they have a decent feud going forward. But that should be a good match. And Van Dam challenging Zema Ion for the X Division title, which should be a decent sort of high flying type of match. So yeah, all signs to me look good for Bound for Glory, and I hope they just round off this past 6 months or so with a great show in their biggest show of the year, because they do deserve it. They do deserve to put out a good show and have their pay-per-views match what Impact has been doing. So yeah, fingers crossed on that. So what we'll talk about next, ROH. I'll just touch on the ROH again. A lot of shit on the internet at the minute. A lot of dirt sheets. A lot of fans on forums bitching about the product, and yeah, in my opinion, it is somewhat deserved. I think they need to fucking sort out the iPay-per-view situation, because from what I read, that is turning a lot of hardcore Ring of Honor fans off the product. They just can't seem to put out a decent stream for their pay-per-views. I mean, how long do you have to wait? How long does it take to sort out problems like this? The first iPay-per-view was Final Battle 2009, as far as I remember. So it's coming up to 3 years. Final Battle this year will be the third year. 3 straight years they've been doing iPay-per-view, and we're still getting the same problems. How long does it take to sort it out? There's no excuse for it. You could maybe forgive them, like the first, half a dozen iPay-per-views. You could maybe forgive them having some problems, some glitches, that they need to work through. That's always going to happen. But 3 years down the line, and we're still getting the same problems, if not worse. Because I can remember watching the first couple of iPay-per-views that they did, and they weren't as bad as the last one. So what are they doing? There's obviously something wrong there in production. I don't know. They need to sort it out, but because it's turning a lot of people off, from what I understand. So as for the product itself, the Sinclair TV show is starting to piss me off, to be honest. The fact that it's outdated compared to where where we are is really starting to annoy me. I can remember just after Kenny King left and all that sort of shit went down, he did a bunk and fucked off to TNA. He was featured. I can remember watching TNA on ROH on Sinclair, and Kenny King and the All Night Express were featured for 3 weeks after he left. Now, I've not got the answers as to how they can change the TV. That's not my job. It's up to them to sort that out. But that can't be allowed to happen, surely. I mean, I'd rather just see old matches instead of the Kenny King All Night Express segments, because obviously no one wants to watch it. It's not relevant. Kenny King's left. He's gone to TNA. Why do I want to watch segments between the All Night Express and the Briscoes about, like, why do I want to watch that feud continue on TV when Kenny King's not even in the company anymore? For 3 weeks in a row, the All Night Express were in quite a prominent position on the TV show. Segments with Briscoes, matches. I just don't need to see it. Show me an old match from an old pay-per-view, like from 5-6 years ago, whatever. Do whatever. Show the rest of the TV show, and then when it comes time for the All Night Express stuff, stop the TV show and show me an old match. I don't care. Do whatever, but don't show me segments involving a wrestler that's not even in the company anymore. It just does. It makes me. I just turned off. Turned off the TV show straight away because it's not relevant. It doesn't matter. So they need to do something about it, and something about the structure of the TV show, in my opinion. I will say this past week, Kevin Steen did his best stuff since he's become champion, in my opinion. His best promo since he's become champion to set up Glory by Honour, which is tonight, actually, Saturday. I'm making this video, so it should be a decent show. The lineup looks okay. There should be a couple of really good matches. I think Steen and Elgin should be good. I've got a problem with Kevin Steen, though, since he's become champion. I know he's in Scum, and I know he's the rebel of Ring of Honor and all this bollocks, but he's having too many hardcore matches. I don't know if anybody else agrees with this, but he's almost becoming like a fucking backyard wrestler, like a CZW deathmatch type shit. Now, I know Kevin Steen can work every kind of style. He is fantastic. And I want to see him have a decent wrestling match. He's not had a decent wrestling match for, well, as long as I can remember in ROH. All he's been doing is brawling, hardcore matches. And it gets old, man. At the last pay-per-view, when he was defending the title against Rhino, and just before the match started, Cornette comes out and says, "This is now a street fight, no holds barred." How many times are you going to do this? I know that's Kevin Steen's character. I know he's the Scum character, quote unquote, if you like, but he needs to vary it up. He needs to put on a decent actual wrestling match sooner rather than later, because, like I say, at the moment, the main events in Ring of Honor, Kevin Steen matches for the world title, are just resembling CZW, like backyard fucking hardcore matches that, well, I've personally not got any interest in seeing that. So Kevin Steen is a fantastic worker, great wrestler. Just go back and watch his early matches, watch his matches with Generico. He's a great technical wrestler, but he's obviously ROH choosing to put him in these brawls and hardcore matches. So, but whatever. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out, that the sort of hardcore matches are just getting a bit too much in my view. So that's that. Raw from this past week. Obviously, I've got to touch on that. The internet's going fucking berserk about CM Punk striking a fan. Total overreaction, in my opinion. I'm not justifying what Punk did. I don't think you should really ever sort of strike a fan. But you've got to remember, Punk was drawing some incredible heat last week on Raw. Just a word on Punk as well. Since he's turned heel, fantastic stuff. The guy is on fire, in my opinion, with his promos. Is the only thing that's keeping me watching Raw. The only thing, because the rest of it's absolute shit at the minute. Absolute shit, which I'll touch on in a second. But yeah, Punk's promos as a heel he knows how to get heat, that guy. He knows exactly the buttons to press. And he was getting some genuine heat, which I've not seen for a couple of years. I mean, Randy Orton got some heat for the McMahon's family stuff a few years ago, but you've got to remember that Punk's got his back to a lot of people facing the ring, and he feels it looked like it was quite a heavy shot that he took in the back of the head. He don't know he don't know if he's going to get, if he's been punched, if he's going to get punched again. He don't know if the guy's got he could have a fucking knife or whatever. He could. I mean, I'm just taking it to the extremes here, but to illustrate my point. But Punk, basically, what I'm saying is Punk doesn't know what that guy's going to do. If he's felt a decent whack in the back of his chrome, then he's gonna defend himself. He told the fans around him at least 2 or 3 times to back off, not touch him, keep their hands off him, and they kept pushing him. And yeah, so I think people are overreacting to Punk, what Punk did massively. I have to say, in my opinion, he was defending himself. He didn't know what was going to happen next. He could have got punched in the back of the head. He could have got sort of crushed like by all the fans rushing forward. He didn't know, so he had to defend himself, in my opinion, in that situation. So, and yeah, just to touch on Raw, it looks like obviously Vince has blown his fucking lid about the ratings. The worst ratings from 2 weeks ago. Raw got the worst ratings that it's got in 15 years. And apparently this past week he's sent Brian Gerwitz home, the head writer for Raw. And apparently he was just reading on the internet, he was blowing his lid backstage before the show. So this is what it needs. Finally Vince might wake up and realise what he's giving us is absolute garbage. It has been for, well, since Punk's promo last year, just after SummerSlam, when the Punk and Cena feud fell apart and we went on to sort of Punk and Nash and Punk and Triple H. So for the best part of a year, I'd say it's been terrible. Absolutely terrible product. No logic, no common sense being used. It's not hard. It really isn't hard what you're asking him to do. I mean, all you want is logic and common sense. That's all. But obviously Gerwitz has been sent home, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But Vince was apparently fuming. So hopefully we see an improvement in the next couple of weeks, because it needs it. It definitely needs it. It's just been stale for far too long. So I hope that people are in Vince's ear telling him that TNA is getting a good reports and getting a good reaction on the internet and stuff like that. I hope people are in Vince's ear telling him stuff like this, because while TNA will never challenge WWE, never, no matter, their fans can live in hope, but they'll never be on the scale that WWE's on. So, but as long as Vince knows that there is other companies around and that his audience might be drawn to other product, then that has to light a fire under him in some respect. I mean, surely, but that's the hope anyway, that there's a sort of fire been lit underneath him, and he starts to put a better product out, because, like I say, Raw, apart from CM Punk, is unwatchable to me at the minute. So, and last thing I wanted to just touch on was New Japan. I mean, just catching up on the last couple of shows, is Okada the best wrestler in the world? That's my question. In my opinion, he is. The guy is phenomenal. Wrestler of the year so far, without a shadow of a doubt. Just fantastic matches, great psychology. If you don't watch New Japan or whatever, check it out, because Kazuchika Okada is in my opinion, as I say, the best worker in wrestling at the minute. He is an absolute pleasure to watch him. When you watch Raw and then you put on New Japan and you compare the two, it's like fucking chalk and cheese. It really is. Fantastic matches. Like I say, great psychology, great fate. I mean, I don't understand Japanese. I don't understand the promos, but you can kind of tell from facial expressions, body language. Just a nod to Okada. I've caught up now on latest New Japan stuff, and yeah, it's been a fantastic year for Okada. Like I say, the best wrestler of the year so far by a mile, in my opinion. So check out New Japan, and in particular, check out his work if you get a chance. So, I think that's all I wanted to say, really. Pretty much, I think I've covered everything. So I've rambled long enough, and I'll end it there. Cheers for watching. See you later.